Hello, it's Crafty Carol here with another little video for you, and I'm going to make a card which is very similar to this one. This is one I got as a swap at an event I was at with some other demonstrators earlier in August, and this was from Jas Gill. Thank you, Jas. And it's lovely. I thought, oh, it's just a nice little ordinary card, but when you open it, oh look, it's a lovely little fun fold. So thank you, Jas, for the idea. I thought I would make one for my husband's birthday because it's my husband's birthday really very soon. I think it's 10 days. Yeah, 8th of September anyway. So I'm going to make one for him. So let me go through. I've got some of the bits prepared already. So you can do these obviously with any colour scheme you want and any contrasting things you want. Jas did hers using just plain paper stamped on the front. I decided to use DSP. You can obviously play around with this card, and I'll show you another version of it I've made because I've got a bit carried away with making these cards in a minute, which has got a slightly different bit on it as well. So let's start off with what you need to make the basic card. You start off with a basic card blank, so use whatever colour you want as a base colour. So I've used Early Espresso here, normal card blank, 21 by 14.8, scored in the middle at 10.5 centimetres. So you also need a piece of basic white or very vanilla or whatever other colour you want to do for the inside piece, and that needs to be 20 by 14.3, and we're going to score that in a minute. If you want to use DSP for the front, or if you wanted to use just a piece of white card, it needs to be the same size, and that is 14.3 that way by 10 across, so 10 by 14.3, and that's going to be on the front. I decided I wanted to put a piece down the side piece that opens out, and that needs to be 4.5 by 13.8, so a bit shorter than that one and just 4.5 wide. Then you need various scraps if you want various bits of decoration, and I'll show you what I'm doing in a minute. And you also, I've used the stylish shape dies to cut out my circle. Jas used punches, so you could use punches if you've got, say, the 2 3/8 new punch and perhaps an old 2-inch punch. That would be great. I've used the stylish shape dies, and I've used the third size and the second size, not the first size, not the biggest, but the next two in is the ones I've used for this. So that cuts out a circle in your base colour, the bigger circle in your base colour, and a second colour in basic white, or very vanilla if you're using that as a colour scheme. So those are the bits you actually need. Oh, there's the envelope. I've already stamped my envelope, so don't forget your envelope. And I'm using for it the Country Bouquet stamp set, which comes with a matching punch, which I'm going to be using. So let me show you how to put this card together. So first of all, we need to do the scoring on the piece of basic white. So I just put my stamp set on top of my trimmer, so honestly, give up. So this is 20, as we said, by 14.3. So on the long side, we're going to score it first at 10 and then at 15. Could do it 5 and 10, but I found that that's actually probably the easiest way to do it. And then I'm going to fold it in half first, so making sure it lines up properly, and give it a really good burnish with your bone folder. So fold it in half first down the first score line, then you're going to fold the second score line back and make sure that it does line up properly. So I think I might have mine going the other way because I can see the cut edge of my paper. So I'm just going to reinforce those burnished folds there. There we go. So that is the piece for the inside, and then you can decorate that as you want. I'm going to, as I say, put the some DSP down this strip that's going to be the sort of folded out strip, so I'll just stick that on first. This is a retired DSP, but I just like the colour. I wanted Calypso Coral, so I was looking for some Calypso Coral type DSP. Because I'm using Calypso Coral and Early Espresso for this card for husband for his birthday. So that's that piece on there. And then I also need to stick my other piece, either your white piece or in my case the DSP, onto the front of the card. So husband is not a flowery person, so we're not having that bit sticky pointing out. We're hiding the flowers because we don't want the flowers. And just make sure that you put a fair bit of glue round the sort of top third of the piece. And I'll explain why in just a minute, because we're going to be cutting that piece. So get that nice and straight. So there we go, that's the sort of base of the card. So before we do anything else about putting it together, I want to cut out the circle from the front. And the circle I cut out of the front is in fact the same as the one I'm using as to obviously fit behind. Now, you could, if you wanted, cut out the circle before you stick this on. Then you've got to line up these and get circles and things and all sorts. You could, I suppose, use that circle reversed, but then the holes are the wrong way round, and I didn't like it that way, so I just used an extra bit to cut it out. So you want this to be in, try and make sure it's almost exactly in the centre, so the pattern helps me get this in the centre, sort of in the top, just above the halfway. You don't want it right in the middle, somewhere near the top. So I'm going to just go and cut that out, and I should be back in a second. Okay, so that has cut out my circle. I've got my nice shape. As I said, you could turn that round and use it, but then you lose, on the reverse of the die cut, you lose the sort of definition of the holes, which look far better on the first side. So I'm being extravagant and using extra bits of card, but you can save a bit of card by doing that way. So that's got our base card prepared. So the next stage is I want to put any stamps on here I want. So I've already chosen a sentiment. And somewhere I did have, yeah. So I'm using Mossy Meadow, the two colours I'm using for here. I've got the leaves in Mossy Meadow and Calypso Coral for the heart little heart image that I'm using on the circles. You'll see that in a minute. I'm talking rubbish. And I've just stuck my finger into the ink. How stupid. Right, let's try that again. So let me ink up this sentiment. My ink pad is also new and very, very juicy, so we'll have to be careful. So just wanted to say, I love you. So that's my sentiment. And then just for a little bit of extra, just to put on, I've used the two little hearts from the Country Bouquet stamp set. Just we'll have those down in the bottom here. Okay, so cleaning up these because it's a dark coloured ink pad, so I want to get as much ink off as possible. Don't leave it to dry because it'll be almost impossible to clean the stamps. I've already stamped the other bits. That's my inside. I'll just let that dry for a second. And I've also stamped the heart. That's one stamp, this heart and the little heart, which fit in the punch, as do the leaves. So I've already stamped the leaves in Mossy Meadow and the heart in Calypso Coral. So if I get my punch, you can see how I can punch these out. So that is the Country Bouquet punch. Whoa. So obviously don't need those bits, get rid of those. And then the leaves, punch out to the sides. So there are my leaves and hearts ready for my, let's just try and get rid of these bits, are ready to stick on. Okay, I've also done my happy birthday. That was from, I'm trying to remember which set that was from. It's from a different set anyway, the happy birthday. Can't quite remember which set now, but anyway, I stamped that ready because there isn't a happy birthday in the Country Bouquet set, sadly. But I thought that the fonts matched quite well, so I was happy with that. So I was going to, there we have, I'd got a scrap as well of my early espresso because I want to have my sentiment with that surround on the front. So I'm just going to find a punch to do that with. So I'm going to punch out in the early espresso the background, throw the bits away. So that's my background, and then I'm just going to Now I probably can use a sort of part punch of this. Let's see how this works. If I get it in the centre and then punch it out. What, I thought there was a bit of card still stuck in there. Right, just get rid of the bits. So that would sit across, but I think I want to have it a bit, yeah, I want to cut it in at the end. So what I'm going to do is on the back, and this is just a little trick if you want your punches to match, is I'm going to draw a line just a little way in, but following the contour of the punch. That needs to be a bit deeper there. And the same the other end, so I take off a bit from both ends. Okay, and then I can just cut that and then it'll fit in the middle of my piece and still be the right shape. There. So when you haven't got two things or two dies that fit and you want a particular shape, that's one way to do it and still get a little edge to it. So I'm glad that worked out all right. Okay, so now let's make the card up, as we're just about ready now. Try and get rid of some of this stuff so I've got room to work here. So the first thing I'm going to do is stick the inside card in here. So we just want glue on this panel. Don't put any glue on these panels. That's important because otherwise they'll stick down and we don't want that. So we'll just have glue around the edge of this main panel. Now because we've cut this less than the base card, it needs to sit in a little way. You've just got that ½ centimetre rim all the way round. So that sticks that in, and this is the piece that folds over. Now we can set up the folding mechanism. So we have the circle, we know it's going to fit in there because it's been cut from the same die. So I've found the best way to get this right is to hold the card just closed, and then you can actually put some glue all around the edge there, okay? And then, again, without opening the card, we're going to stick this in there. Bit too much glue there, so I'll let that dry. Don't want that stuck on there. I always make a mess when I'm doing this on video, but this is real crafting, folks. This is how it is. Okay, so while that's drying, I can put these together. So I think I'll stick that on flat and then stick the whole thing up on dimensionals. And this circle can now stick onto the base circle.
Here's what I found.
No idea why my watch suddenly wants to talk to me. Honestly, things go wrong on live videos. It's ridiculous. Right, a little bit of glue on there, just get rid of that. So then I can add my hearts. Oops. I'm going to have one heart just stuck down on there. Now I can't do, you can see I messed up the stamping. The reverse side is fine. So you can't use a dimensional here, obviously, because it would stop the card shutting. So do make sure you just stick anything on here flat. And then the heart itself and the leaves, 2 leaves underneath it, I can actually stick on with dimensionals because they're going to show through the hole. So I shall just grab a couple of dimensionals. And there's my very badly stamped heart that I had to ignore. I needed a different one, which is fine. That's why we have reverse sides of cards. So could just have the heart itself, but I wanted to put some leaves on it. I thought it needed just a little bit more colour. So there is my heart, and the leaves, I think actually I won't put those on with dimensionals, I'll just put those on flat. So I'll just have a little bit of glue on those. I don't know, Look at that, all over the desk again. Not sure if these leaves have got a forward and a back bit, I'm not sure. Anyway, let's try them like that and see. Is that the top of a leaf? I don't really know. It'll do, like that. There we go. So that's stuck that bit on. That's my inside, all done. And then you can see the card shuts like that. So all that remains is for me to stick my happy birthday on. And I've just put a little bit of extra down here. I've actually cut a couple of pieces. Oh, it's a bit frayed, that bit, because I used the wrong scissors to start with. Let me just trim that so it looks neat and tidy. So this is the lovely copper clay ribbon, but it actually goes really, really well with, that bit a bit long it is. It really goes very well with Calypso Coral. So I thought I'd use a couple of bits of that because I just want those underneath my, put the other way around, underneath my sentiment there. So they'll stick out. Whoops, that is not going to stick out like that. Just a second. That way around I need them. There we go. And the sentiment across there. Yep, that'll do. So to put those on, I'm just going to use a little bit of tape. In the centre. And then if I take that off, I can stick my ribbon on. Need that slightly more. The beauty about tape and ribbon is you can reposition it quite a number of times without losing any stickiness off the tape, which is really good. There, that'll do nicely. Might stick a little bit more tape down behind there, probably, but the sentiment is going to hold it in place as well, and it is held in place there with the ribbon. So I have my sentiment on. Hopefully that's in the middle, as close as matters. And there we have the card. So, might put a couple of gems on just to finish it off. But there we have the card for my husband, which I hope he's going to really love. There we go. And I said I'd show you one more little idea because I was playing around with this. This is the Bird's Eye View stamp set, which I rather liked because it's got a pile of books and I am a great reader. I love reading. Don't forget to stamp your envelopes, by the way, folks. I've done both this, I've done this one as well. And I love the books. And I thought, actually, I love this. So giving the idea of sort of bird book, I don't know. So same basic outline, but this time I put an extra circle on the base. So you could actually have 3 layers on the card. So I need to just put a sentiment in there as well, but that's another idea. So I hope you enjoyed that. Then we've got the original one I had from Jas. Just very plain. So I hope you enjoyed that and it's given you some ideas for these lovely cards because they are such fun to make. They're so easy, but they're just a lovely wow card to receive. When I got this, obviously it was in a bag, so I opened it. I thought, oh yes, it's just an ordinary card. But then you open it and find the excitement of the fun fold. So I hope you try this one. It's great fun. 3 completely different designs here, as you can see. If you want all the details, hopefully you've got them off the video, but if not, please go to my blog at craftycarolscards.co.uk and you'll find all the details there. And while you're there, please do sign up for my emails so that you'll get notice of when I'm doing these things and the different things that I do, my classes and my lives. Thanks for joining me today. See you soon. Bye for now.